Welcome to this brief video introducing the Calc Designer Pro and Tekla Tedds. In this video, we'll go over the developer tool for building calculations. The Calc Designer Pro is a powerful calculation building tool. It's the same tool used by Tedds developers. It creates a flowchart made up of calculation parts, and this allows you to build a complex calculation, create conditional and logic calculations. That is, the calc can change depending on selections or outcomes of equations. You can create iterative calculations, and you can generate batch designs, that is, design multiple beams in one go. So let's take a look at how this works. I've created a simple beam calculation and saved all the parts to my user library. I can drag and drop these into the document to see what they contain. This item has bunched up several of the earlier sections into one larger section, and you can see it has loading inputs, general beam parameters, and calculates the required moment and shear on the beam. I can run this calculation to see how it works. First, a user interface will open. This allows me to input the required information without having to sort through the file itself. Once done, it performs the calculations and outputs the results to the document. I also have three design components to this overall calculation. This one is the shear design. The other two relate to flexural design. This simple calculation will only work for compact beams. Non-compact or slender sections are beyond scope. One component will output a beyond scope message. The other output contains the flexural checks for a compact beam. I want the calculation to automatically pick the appropriate component based on the compactness check performed in the first section. And you can see this is based on the variables r, sub WTF, and lambda. So I'll use these variables to set up a condition where the calculation will result in the beyond scope message or the flexural check. The Tedds developer tools are located in their own ribbon. This can be turned on by going to Tedds Options, Environment, and check on the option for the Tedds Developer ribbon. In this new ribbon, click on the Calc Designer Pro to launch the application. The calc objects are the commands to build the flowchart. All calculations must start with the Start module object and end with the End module object. The remaining objects are used throughout the process. Start by selecting the object, then click in the graphics window to apply. Next, from the Library Access System, we can drag and drop the calculation components into this flowchart in the order that they need to run. Use the arrows on the left-hand side to indicate the flow of the calculations. Snap to the nodes of the objects to connect them. At this point, I'm going to add an expression calculation. This will be the condition to determine which flexural component will be used. Once the expression is in the flowchart, I can modify the properties and add the logic statement. The condition I want to control the outcome is r sub WTF less than lambda sub PFF. If this statement is false, the calculation will proceed down to the next object. If this statement is true, it will branch to the right. So now I can add the corresponding components to the chart, non-compact below and compact to the right. Add the arrows to join the components and establish the workflow. Finally, I need to add an End module to complete the flowchart. Now I can build my chart and place this chart in the same library as the main calculation. Then save the new calculation item with its own name. Return to Tedds for Word. I'm going to open up a new file for this calculation. In the Tedds ribbon, I'm going to add a Tedds field. Then add a calc item. Select the corresponding library file and the library item that we just built in the Calc Designer Pro. Now calculate all to run. I'll start by inputting the necessary information and selecting a steel beam section size that I know is compact. Once I click Next, the calculation will perform. At the end, we'll see that the full flexural check has been performed and the output to the document. Now I'll run the calculation again, and this time I'll select a size that I know to be non-compact, a W8 by 31. We can see that the correct item is now output, indicating that the section is beyond scope. This was a very simple calculation to introduce the Calc Designer Pro and its functionality. We recommend that you download and install the Tedds developer tutorial located in the Help menu. Once installed, it can then be run from the same menu. This is a step-by-step tutorial going into more detail on these advanced Tedds for Word tools. You can now take these fundamental principles to create your own complex calculations.